General Hospital spoilers for the week of April 14th to 18th reveal that Drew's crazy plan involving controlling Willow is now in a new dangerous situation as the pieces of his power play begin to collapse one by one. Under the sophisticated manipulation of Ezra, Drew developed a complex strategy to control Willow, not only because she is Michael Corinthos' wife, but also due to her significant position in the Quartermaine family through her relationship with Michael. Drew exploited Willow's medical history, using sensitive information about her health condition to create a subtle dependency system, convincing her that only he could ensure she received the best medical care through his connections and resources. However, with recent changes related to Nina adjusting the evidence of Drew's crimes, his entire plan is at risk of being exposed. Nina, motivated both by her desire to protect her daughter and her thirst for revenge against Drew for past injustices, has begun gathering an impressive collection of evidence on Drew's illicit activities. From manipulating the stock market through Aurora Media to using unapproved experimental treatments on Willow without her full consent, Nina has built a comprehensive case against Drew. What makes the situation even more dangerous is that Nina has discovered that Drew is using experimental drugs on Willow, drugs with severe side effects that Willow is unaware of. This is creating a new frenzy as Drew realizes Nina holds information that could destroy not only his career but also his life. This panic is evident in Drew's increasingly reckless and thoughtless actions. From abruptly changing Aurora Media's business strategy to tightening security around Willow without providing any explanation, Drew has begun searching for information on Nina, trying to find weaknesses he can use against her while stepping up efforts to manipulate Willow into continuing to trust and depend on him. In his new madness, Drew has made mistakes he would normally avoid, leaving digital traces, sending threatening messages from traceable phone numbers, and even having public confrontations with Nina that could raise suspicions. He has also started putting undue pressure on Willow, demanding she report every action she takes and limiting her contact with Nina, a controlling behavior that is starting to make Willow question Drew's true motives. As Nina continues to gather more evidence and Drew sinks further into his madness, an inevitable showdown is brewing, a showdown that could not only expose Drew but also place Willow in direct danger if she gets caught in the middle. And with each passing day, each new drug Drew persuades Willow to take, her real health is gradually being threatened, turning the race between Nina and Drew not just into a battle for power and revenge but also for Willow's very life. Jocelyn will have a new mission, which is tied to one of the new threats she faces as she is tasked with tracking and gathering information on Sidwell's activities, a dangerous mission that requires her to infiltrate the territory of one of Port Charles's most dangerous crime bosses. Brennan, with his ever-present cold smile, has assigned Jocelyn this task, arguing that she has a special advantage. Her relationship with the Corinthos family provides her with access that other agents lack. However, what Brennan hasn't told Jocelyn is that this mission also places her directly in conflict with Sonny, whom she has always considered part of her family, regardless of how complicated their relationship is. Jocelyn's mission begins with her being asked to approach Natalia, the woman recently revealed to be Sidwell's ex-wife and is now developing a relationship with Sonny. Brennan believes that through Natalia, Jocelyn can obtain valuable information about Sidwell's activities and plans. To do this, Jocelyn is instructed to create a cover story about conducting a university research project on famous entrepreneurs in Port Charles. And she wants to interview Natalia about her experiences with successful business people. This plan, although simple, places Jocelyn in a highly dangerous position. If Sonny or Natalia suspects her true motives, the consequences could be severe. However, it seems that one of the new developments regarding the adjustments in the storyline is causing one of the new pressures to intensify as Vaughn begins to take strange actions related to Jocelyn's mission. He, originally tasked with guiding and assisting Jocelyn, has begun providing conflicting information and sometimes directing her into dangerous areas without proper preparation. Vaughn seems to be pursuing his own agenda, one that may not align with the official WSB plan or even Brennan's. In a specific instance, Vaughn directed Jocelyn to track Sidwell at a warehouse in the Harbor District, a location notorious for gang activity and organized crime. When Jocelyn arrived, she discovered that not only was Sidwell there, but Sunny and several of his men were present as well. Clearly, a meeting between two powerful mob bosses was taking place. And Jocelyn had unwittingly stumbled into the middle of it. Thanks to some basic skills she learned during her training and a bit of luck, Jocelyn managed to escape the situation without being detected. But when she reported the incident to Vaughn, instead of expressing concern for her safety, he seemed pleased with the information she had gathered, information about a meeting she shouldn't have even known about. This new pressure not only comes from the dangerous mission but also from Jocelyn's growing realization that she might be being used as a pawn in a much larger game. She's starting to feel as if she's being pushed into dangerous situations not for the intelligence value they offer, but for some other purpose, one she hasn't fully understood yet. This pressure intensifies as she is forced to constantly lie to her family and friends about her activities, creating an increasingly complex web of lies that she fears will eventually collapse. This is proving to be one of the new adjustments Brennan and Vaughn are making as they seem to be reshaping their plans to deal with the unwanted involvement of Jason and Carly in the situation. Jason, with his sharp protective instincts, has begun to suspect Jocelyn's activities and is quietly keeping tabs on her. On one occasion, he saw her leaving a meeting with Vaughn, a man Jason doesn't know but immediately distrusts. Jason, not wanting to interfere directly but unable to ignore his concerns, has begun investigating Vaughn on his own, using his connections to learn more about this mysterious man. Carly, with her motherly intuition, also senses that something is wrong with her daughter. She has noticed changes in Jocelyn's behavior, how she's becoming more secretive, more tense, and frequently disappearing without reasonable explanation. Though Carly is busy with her new relationship with Brennan, she can't help but worry about her daughter. In an effort to learn more, Carly has begun questioning Jocelyn directly, forcing the young woman to struggle to maintain her cover in front of her perceptive mother. Brennan and Vaughn, aware of this potential threat to their plans, have begun adjusting their strategy, not just to complete the mission, but also to prevent Jason and Carly from interfering. They have created a new, more complicated communication system with Jocelyn, using codes and constantly changing meeting locations. They've also provided Jocelyn with a new, tighter cover story, including creating fake documents and contacts to support the university research project story. Brennan, in a particularly bold move, has decided to use his relationship with Carly as a tool to distract her. He has increased his presence in Carly's life, taking her out for romantic dinners, giving her gifts, and even starting to talk about taking their relationship to the next level. All of this is not just to distract Carly from Jocelyn's activities, but also to place him in a position where he can monitor and control the information Carly might have access to. Brennan has even gone so far as to suggest to Carly that Jocelyn may be in a secret relationship, a calculated lie meant to explain her mysterious behavior without raising suspicion about her real activities. Vaughn, meanwhile, has focused on monitoring Jason, using WSB resources to track his activities and predict his next moves. He is particularly concerned with preventing Jason from discovering the link between Jocelyn and the WSB, as this could jeopardize the mission and possibly Jocelyn's life. Vaughn has even considered providing false information to Jason, creating a false trail for him to follow, a risky strategy that could backfire if Jason uncovers it. The new storylines around Jocelyn's increasing dangers are really heating up as she begins to uncover the pieces of a much bigger puzzle. During the course of her mission, through conversations with Natalia and tracking Sidwell, Jocelyn accidentally discovers a connection between Sidwell, Ezra, and Drew, three men who, on the surface, seem unrelated. She has learned that Sidwell is not just a business rival of Sunny's, but also has ties to Aurora Media, Drew's company, through a series of shell companies and anonymous investments. Sidwell appears to be funding some of Drew's projects, particularly those related to expanding Aurora's influence in the media sector. And behind all of this is Ezra, who seems to be coordinating the activities between Sidwell and Drew, using his influence over Drew to guide his business decisions in a way that benefits Sidwell. What's confusing to Jocelyn is that the WSB seems either unaware of or uninterested in this connection. When she tries to report her findings to Vaughn, he doesn't seem surprised and quickly redirects the conversation, pushing her back to the original mission of tracking Sidwell. This makes Jocelyn wonder if the WSB knew about this connection all along and is using her for some other purpose, or if Vaughn has his own agenda that she doesn't know about. This suspicion is growing in Jocelyn's mind, pushing her closer to making a painful decision: remain loyal to the WSB and complete her mission, or side with her family and protect the people she loves. She knows that if the link between Sidwell, Ezra, and Drew truly exists, it could threaten not only Sunny but also Michael, her brother, who works at ELQ and could be affected by any business schemes Drew is involved in. Jocelyn's anxiety increases when she realizes that Emma, her new friend in Port Charles and the niece of Anna Devane, also seems to be connected to the WSB in some way. Jocelyn saw Emma in a meeting with Brennan, an encounter she accidentally witnessed while tracking Sidwell at a restaurant. This makes Jocelyn wonder if Emma is also carrying out a mission for the WSB and if they are working for the same side. As all these motivations continue to unfold and intertwine, Port Charles stands on the edge of a major conflict, one that could not only reshape Jocelyn's future but also the power structure of the town. And at the heart of it all is a young woman who is slowly realizing that in the world of power players, no one is truly innocent, and no decision comes without consequences. Jocelyn, who joined the WSB hoping for excitement and purpose after Dex's death, is now realizing that the world of espionage is not what she imagined. It's not just about thrilling missions and cutting-edge technology, it's also about tough decisions, complex moral choices, and the possibility of betraying the people you care about. And as she digs deeper into the rabbit hole, she will have to ask herself whether the price of becoming a spy is worth what she has to give up. Meanwhile, Jason and Carly, with growing concern for Jocelyn, are gradually closing in on the truth. And as they do, their reaction could forever change not only Jocelyn's life but also the fate of the WSB in Port Charles. Brennan, who is playing a dangerous game with both Carly and Jocelyn, may soon find out that underestimating the determination and protection of a mother and daughter could be his biggest mistake. Sunny will have new actions, bold and decisive moves that are slowly taking shape in the mind of the most powerful man in Port Charles as he faces a new threat to his empire and family. The information that Natalia is Sidwell's wife is truly pushing Sunny's control further, transforming from usual caution to a heightened state of vigilance and even paranoia. The discovery that the woman he is developing strong feelings for has a direct connection to his latest enemy has raised questions not only about Natalia's loyalty but also about her true motives for coming to Port Charles. Sunny, who once prided himself on his ability to read people, now feels as if he has been openly deceived, a feeling he is not familiar with and cannot accept. His control has gone beyond the normal range, as he has deployed more people to monitor not just Sidwell but also Natalia, while also strengthening security around his family and business. Every phone call, every meeting, every business transaction is being closely monitored and analyzed as Sunny tries to get a comprehensive picture of the threat he faces. Particularly concerning to Sunny is the possibility that Natalia may have shared information about his operations and weaknesses with Sidwell. Their private conversations, intimate moments, and possibly even business secrets, everything could have been revealed to his enemy. This has led Sunny to reassess his entire security system, changing codes and procedures, and even considering moving some of his most important business operations to new, more secretive locations. One of the new plots forming in Sunny's mind is revenge against Sidwell. A plan not only to protect his territory but also to send a clear message to anyone who dares challenge his position in Port Charles. Unlike previous conflicts, Sunny is approaching this war with cold calculation and a systematic approach. He has started gathering information on every aspect of Sidwell's empire, from legitimate businesses to underground operations, from personal relationships to financial vulnerabilities. What makes Sunny's revenge plan unique is the way he targets not just Sidwell himself but also his network of allies and business partners. Sunny has started to put pressure on Sidwell's business partners, using his influence to make them abandon deals or demand unfavorable terms. He has also started acquiring debts and shares in Sidwell's companies through shell companies, gradually building a position that allows him to exert significant financial pressure on his rival. At the same time, Sunny is conducting an information campaign, using his media connections to begin raising questions about Sidwell's business practices. Subtle articles about questionable business practices, investigations into the origins of his wealth, and even rumors about ties to criminal organizations. These are all part of Sunny's strategy to erode Sidwell's reputation and credibility in the business community. This is shaping up to be a new war between the two most powerful men in Port Charles, not just over territory and business, but also over power and pride. Both men are proud with strong egos, and neither is willing to yield or compromise. Sidwell, sensing the increasing pressure from Sunny, has begun to retaliate with his own strategy, strengthening security around his businesses and intensifying efforts to expand into Sunny's traditional territory. This war is quickly escalating from a business competition into a full-scale confrontation, with both sides using every tool and resource at their disposal. Allies are being chosen. Lines are being drawn, and Port Charles is bracing for a conflict that could permanently alter the town's power dynamics. And at the center of all this is Natalia, the woman with ties to both men, who is increasingly caught between loyalty to her past and growing feelings for Sunny. As the war escalates, not only Sunny and Sidwell will face tough decisions, but Natalia will as well. Can she continue to maintain the fragile balance between the two men, or will she eventually have to choose a side? And when she makes her decision, will it be the right one? Or will she discover that neither man is who she thought they were? As Port Charles prepares for the inevitable, one thing is certain: no one will emerge from this battle unchanged forever. Christina decides to confess everything about the crime of tampering with Ava's car brakes, causing an accident with Liz and Rick, a brave yet risky decision she has struggled with for weeks. The moment unfolds in Alexis's living room, where Christina has gathered her family: Alexis, Sunny, Molly, and even Sam. With red eyes and a trembling voice, Christina recounts the entire story. The argument with Ava, the uncontrollable anger that led her to cut the brake lines of a car she thought was Ava's, and the overwhelming guilt when she discovered that Rick and Elizabeth were the victims of her reckless actions. As Christina's confession is made, her family's reaction is a mix of shock, disappointment, and deep concern. Alexis, both a lawyer and a mother, immediately recognizes the gravity of the situation. This is not just a minor mistake but a serious crime that could lead to Christina facing attempted murder charges. Sunny, though disappointed, quickly switches to protective mode, beginning to think about how he can shield his daughter from the full legal consequences. Molly, who has always respected the law, is torn between her love for her sister and the belief that justice must be served, especially when the victims are their father. A new story is forming around Christina's outburst, as she decides to stop Ava from blackmailing Alexis and Sunny when Christina realizes she can no longer allow her family to be threatened by her actions. In recent weeks, Ava has used the evidence of Christina's crime to pressure Alexis and Sunny on various issues, from demanding Sunny's concession in the custody battle for Avery to forcing Alexis to make legal decisions in her favor. This has created a tense situation in the Davis Corinthos family, with Alexis and Sunny both trying to protect Christina without revealing the real reason behind their concessions to Ava. However, when Christina realizes the extent to which Ava has been manipulating her family, she decides it's time to end the cycle of blackmail and lies. She realizes that, although confessing could lead to serious legal consequences, it is better than continuing to live in fear and letting her family be controlled. Her decision comes not only from a sense of guilt but also from the realization that she needs to take responsibility for her actions, a crucial step in her journey to maturity. Christina will be arrested after confessing her guilt to the police, a heartbreaking sight as she is handcuffed and led away in front of her family. Alexis, as her mother and lawyer, stays by her side throughout the process, offering both emotional and legal support. Sunny, despite wanting to intervene and use his influence to protect his daughter, has to restrain himself at Christina's request, as she insists she wants to face the consequences honestly and fairly. The arrest quickly becomes the top news in Port Charles, with headlines about Sunny Corinthos and Alexis Davis's daughter being charged with attempted murder. This news has caused a wave of shock and discussion in the community, with many expressing surprise that Christina, a young woman known to be intelligent and responsible, could commit such a reckless act. Others, familiar with Christina's history and impulsive nature, are less surprised but still shocked by the severity of the crime. But Ava is also facing new dangers as her blackmail card is taken away, with Christina having confessed and facing legal consequences. Ava can no longer use this information to pressure Alexis and Sunny. Furthermore, her deliberate concealment of information about a serious crime and using it for blackmail could lead to charges against her. Sunny, now free from the need to protect Christina from Ava, begins to plan his own revenge on the woman who tried to exploit his family. Ava is also facing backlash from the Port Charles community, many of whom view her blackmail actions as despicable. Just like Christina's crime. Rick, who nearly lost his life in the accident, is especially furious when he learns that Ava knew about the crime for a long time but chose to use it for her own benefit instead of revealing it. He has begun to consider legal action against her, which could add to her growing legal troubles. As the story continues to unfold, Port Charles is witnessing one of the most captivating legal cases in the town's recent history. Christina, with the support of her family, is preparing to face the consequences of her actions, while Ava is struggling with the unforeseen aftermath of her failed blackmail scheme. And at the center of all this are Rick and Elizabeth, the real victims of the situation, who are facing a long recovery process from their injuries and complex emotions about Christina's confession. As Christina's trial approaches, the town is holding its breath to see how justice will be served, and whether a family torn apart by crime and blackmail can find a way to heal and move forward. Meanwhile, Ava faces an uncertain future, as her failed blackmail plan has left her in a more vulnerable position than ever, not just to Sunny and Alexis but to the entire Port Charles community. Trina is seeking help from Portia, her mother and trusted doctor, in a situation that is becoming increasingly complicated and dangerous. The meeting between the two takes place in Portia's office at General Hospital, where Trina arrives with a visibly anxious and tense expression. She begins to share with her mother her growing concerns about Kai and Drew's relationship, a relationship she feels is off. The story of Kai's involvement with Drew is causing Trina to fear for her friend, as she realizes that her best friend might be getting involved in a dangerous situation. Trina has started noticing changes in Kai's behavior, secret calls, impromptu meetings with Drew, and a growing distance from her. She tells Portia about Drew's offer to fund Kai's gender confirmation surgery, an offer that initially seemed generous but now appears to have hidden motives. Trina expresses to her mother that she fears Drew is using Kai's desire for surgery to draw him into illegal or dangerous activities. She has heard rumors about Drew changing under Ezra's influence and fears that Kai could become a pawn in their larger scheme. Portia, with her medical and experience in the complex schemes often at play in Port Charles, listens carefully and begins to ask deep questions to understand the situation better. This is leading to the possibility of Trina and Kai's relationship coming to a chaotic end, as Trina realizes that to protect Kai, she might have to push him away. She shares with Portia her fear that if she tries to intervene or stop Kai from accepting Drew's help, she could lose both her friend and the love that is developing between them. Trina is facing a tough decision. Should she speak out about her suspicions and risk losing Kai, or stay silent and watch her best friend possibly fall into danger? Portia, recognizing the severity of the situation, begins offering advice to her daughter. She emphasizes the importance of protecting Kai, even if it means losing her relationship with him. She also suggests they seek help from others, perhaps Curtis, with his investigative experience, or even Jordan as the police chief. As the conversation continues, Trina and Portia start planning to intervene and protect Kai. They decide that the first step will be to gather more evidence about Drew's activities and his connection with Kai. Portia suggests using her position at the hospital to monitor any unusual medical requests involving Kai or Drew, while Trina will try to talk to Kai directly about her concerns. However, both are aware that their actions may have unintended consequences. If Drew finds out that they are investigating him, he may retaliate not only against Kai but also against the entire Robinson family. And if Kai feels betrayed by Trina's actions, it could drive him even further into Drew's embrace. As Trina leaves her mother's office, she feels a mixture of determination and fear. She knows that the days ahead will require more courage and wisdom than she has ever had to show before. And as she steps into this battle to protect her best friend, she cannot help but wonder if this decision will change her life forever. Meanwhile, no one knows that Drew has begun to suspect Trina's potential interference. He has started to plan his own actions to ensure that Kai remains under his control, even if it means removing Trina from the picture. As these events continue to unfold, Port Charles is bracing for a confrontation that could change the lives of everyone involved forever.